At the age of 33, Elmhurst native Michelle Salerno was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, and for the next 8 years, she battled her cancer. But it was an act of brotherly love that's helping Michelle beat this terrible disease. We caught up with Michelle during a recent treatment.
I was very energetic, and when I got sick, everything changed. Right here was my first cancer.
Odds were against her, although Hodgkin's lymphoma is a very curable disease.
When Loyola was kind of like, okay, we don't have anything else at the moment, we're going to set you up with a nearby hospital. She told me that I had a 1% chance to live. And I admit I was confused.
After an evaluation, we determined that stem cell transplantation was in her best interest.
When we found out, I was tested right away, and given the news not too long after that, that I was a perfect 10 match.
That's when we became close, not only because he gave me his stem cells, but he felt like he had to take care of me.
Her life is living with cancer right now, and I think she wants to live without cancer. She's never been cancer-free.
She's already in remission at this point. What I'm hoping is to continue seeing her in a long-term remission.
The funny thing is, though, I never asked to be cured. I just kept saying, please make me strong. Please give me the strength to make it through. I want to hear NED, no evidence of disease. My name is Michelle Salerno, and I'm an 8-year cancer survivor.
And joining me now is Michelle Salerno, her brother Joey, and Dr. Tulio Rodriguez. Thank you for coming in, you guys. What a wonderful, heartwarming story of brotherly love. What did you think of your brother?
Oh boy, pretty much my hero. Stepping in. I seriously can't say enough about him for helping me out all these years.
It sounded like in the piece, though, you said this is what brought you closer. Did you not have that close relationship before?
It's not so much that we didn't have a close relationship, we just didn't know each other that well. I'm the youngest of 3. There's 4 years difference. Oh. So being the oldest brother, he went off to school earlier, of course, than the rest of us. And then he joined the military, and he lived in Germany and Arizona, and just wasn't
right, so lives were in different directions, which happens in families. I understand that with a 9-year gap between my sister and I. When you found out you were a 10-year match, a perfect 10 match, what went through your mind?
I think that's a pretty rare thing to happen, and I was, obviously enjoyed being that person that's going to get an opportunity to save Michelle's life. I mean, that's really special. I think it's really special to me, and I think the fact that we're all here means that it worked. It's working really well, and I'm very happy to be part of it.
I mean, you already share some DNA, but this is a little extra special stuff. Dr. Rodriguez, I have to ask you, you say that this is actually a pretty curable form of cancer. Why was it more problematic in Michelle's case?
Well, nobody knows why a small group of patients don't respond as well as the majority of patients diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Actually, about 85 to 90% of patients are going to have a good outcome with initial therapy. Unfortunately, Michelle was within the group that doesn't do so well. And once the first line of therapy fails, it is really hard. Then odds are against the individual. So at that point is when we thought that a stem cell transplant was the best option for her.
And obviously, did you feel or notice a big difference right away, right after the donation?
Yes, actually. He happened to fix basically my bone marrow. So I didn't have to go back into Loyola every 2 weeks to get a blood transfusion. Fantastic. So it helped a lot where I didn't have to have kind of like a high number once I had the transfusion, and then went down low where I had a difficult time walking and breathing, and sometimes ended up in a wheelchair until I can get blood again the next day.
Oh my goodness, the next day, my goodness gracious. What did this show you, Joey, just about donation? I mean, this is a family member, but donation in general, people, or organ donations. I mean, did this give you a perspective on this sort of life-giving
Absolutely.
gift?
I really do think it's important to play that role of volunteering your cells or blood or wherever you can. being able to do it for my sister, I mean, that was just a simple blood test to find out, and the process, the procedure was easy as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it was something that I think no one should be afraid of, and if you get an opportunity to donate, you should, whether it's cells or blood.
That's great. And if you're a living donor, that's great. I mean, not everybody gets to be a living donor.
Right. That's true.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, because you can keep tapping into him when you need him. This is about the third time
Wow,
in 8 years.
really? Wow, that's interesting. I didn't realize it. Is it hard, Dr. Trujillo, Dr. Rodriguez, to have, is it hard to find matches sometimes for bone marrow circumstances?
Actually, it is. In fact, 1 out of 3 individuals who needs a transplant have a donor within the siblings. For the rest, we need to rely on unrelated donors or even cord blood stem cell donation.
So that's a huge challenge.
So,
especially if you have to go back, which I didn't realize.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, what happened is that after the first transplant, Michelle needed additional therapy. So she was receiving therapy after therapy until the marrow failed. So stopped producing red cells, white cells, etc. Right. So we have to use Joey's cells again. And actually this time, and she had a beautiful engraftment, and she was able to continue the journey. And I have to add that he's saying that it's easy, but he's a very courageous individual, because when he showed up, he didn't know how it was going to be. So he came willing to do whatever
was necessary?
Oh, yeah, whatever was necessary.
Well, congratulations on your remission. I know you only have a few more treatments, and we wish you all the best. And thank you for sharing your beautiful story.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, guys.